David,
Hi, Craig.
we are live. We have our Patreon live stream today.
We sure do. So if you're a Patreon and you're not in the thing and you want to be, the link's in the Discord and it works out. We have confirmation.
Yeah, we reposted it a couple times just to make sure because for some reason the first time I did it didn't show up.
And it's also on the Patreon website, Jigger. So
Yeah,
you can check it out there too.
yeah. So let's bring in our. Should we bring in our guest?
Let's
I
thank
think
them first.
Yes, let's thank everyone. Oh, how there's another way of doing it. We can go full screen,
I
can't
know.
we?
Yeah.
Okay, here
Like
I'll
this.
make.
Boom. No, except me. Yes.
There. Thanks to these wonderful people, you can actually hopefully hear me today. Haha. Held at the tree support level, and everyone else on this list. We do these live streams for you guys so that you can join us live and we can talk about nerdy 3D printing stuff. And you can always join us if you're a Patreon supporter in Discord. We have a great community in there. So yeah.
That was lovely. You did so good. Okay, now, and then, okay.
And now, without further ado,
Patreon.
let's welcome Raymond. Hey,
Raymond.
Hey, how are you guys?
Oh, we're
We're
doing
good.
all right.
How are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
For a cold Sunday.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm done with this Canada weather. It's been enough.
Are you moving south, David?
Yeah.
How
Moving
far
to
south?
the Dominican. We'll see you guys later.
That's pretty far south.
Yeah. I can work remote, right? It's fine.
Yeah. They allow that where we work.
He said facetiously. Oh my goodness. So good.
Yeah, so we have a few topics, and then Ray has a toy that's coming in that we can talk about. So I don't know, where would you like to start, David?
I have no idea. I mean, did you bring the lace tower thingy, Ray?
I did.
Let's see it. So we were talking with Ray the other day about multicolor on the bamboo printer, and I was asking about the waist tower because we've all seen like the pallet one, which is like 5 kilograms. Right. So I was just wondering what the bamboo one.
Now Ray, let me just make sure I got this right. So it does a waist tower, but it also does a purge, correct? And kind of dumps a bucket of stuff out the back to try to probably reduce the tower somewhat because of it transitions the color better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you did multicolor print, and how?
Yeah.
Now I know
my wife did this. I don't know if we're going to be able to see.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. That's a nice one.
Yeah. She did that on our bamboo at work, and it's actually it's not that thick, right? Nope. Probably about 10 millimeters thick, give or take.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the waste we got from that. Let's see if I can.
Okay.
So that's the waste tower.
That's the waste tower.
But there's the purge bucket as well, right?
Yeah, they call it the poop because it comes out the backside.
The poop bucket.
I don't have those pieces with me, but what they were probably about that big, so about 2 millimeter spiral.
Okay.
From each color, basically, from each color change.
Right.
So so then it dumps a bit, then it does the wipe tower, and then you keep printing.
Yeah, and that's why the tower is so much
so small.
Substantially smaller. Because I remember did you do a Marvin Martian? Was it David? Or what did you do? You did some sort of figurine that was in color.
Marvin. It was I forget what it was now.
But the waist tower for that one weighed more
than the print,
than the actual print itself.
Yeah, we have a shot glass at work that my wife printed as well, a 2-color shot glass, and she printed it with a lawn howl that has 1 head, 2 inputs, so basically the same as the bamboo or all the rest of them.
Yeah.
And the purge tower weighed 3 times more than the shot glass did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for the poop purge at the back where it can really, transition the color before you start the transition tower and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting because, like, I mean, we could weigh 2 millimeters or whatever of filament and see how heavy that is, but I'm thinking that probably even saves the wipe tower a little bit anyway, right? Like,
If nothing, it saves on time.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Right.
Yeah.
Because the wipe tower is fairly small. So yeah. Yeah. And basically the wipe tower at that point is just for any little boogers or whatever before it goes back to the print at that point,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Makes
because
sense.
last thing you want is a little nub of something left on your print, because that looks like a very clean print too. Like
Yeah, it's
like
not too bad. I mean, it is pretty clean. There's no shifting in layers. It was sliced in the bamboo
Hmm.
software. So it's kind of interesting the way that does it. As you can tell, say the yellow is inset. All the
Yeah.
colors
Yeah.
are inset in it. So it makes
Yeah.
it easy. You just point and click
Yeah.
and assign it the drum that you want to print it with. And that's it.
So you could have, unlike with when you do the pause at layer height, you could have made one of those yellow stripes like green or something,
Yeah,
very
exactly.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the wife, she wanted 8 different colors so she could be fancy.
Right.
Why
Mind you,
not,
it cost
right?
me $2,500 it cost me for the printer and everything.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
kicker, isn't it? It's looks
But
really sweet, but when you
but
pay for
the
that,
quality looks good. So I'll be interested to see, because you're definitely going to make a lot of prints off that printer.
We
So
are for sure.
it'll be really interesting to see um, your feedback over time, on maintenance, and if there's any glitches and whatnot, because you know you get some feedback from people, but you're using it like daily for, not just showing off a YouTube video, right? Like it's a little more of a business for your wife, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot more interesting to see kind of the longevity of it, and maintenance and whatnot. So that'll be cool. And I'm interested to see how well it works with both of the, because I've seen them do the I think each of them has four, right, the spools in them,
Yes. Yeah.
the AMS or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see, because you're supposed to be able to string more, like a number of them together, not just two,
Yeah.
right?
You can have up to 4 AMSs together with the 16
Wow.
colors.
Wow.
that's crazy.
Now they don't recommend material mixing, right? They want it all, like if you're printing, you do it all in PLA or all in whatever, right? They don't.
Yeah, I would assume so because of temperature. I don't really
You're
see
right.
a spot to change the temperature per roll.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It
Well,
does,
and
yeah.
then I assume you're going to experiment with some ABS in there and other things just
Oh
to
yeah,
see
we
what
already
it
have
does.
it at work. The
Yeah.
one there has never printed dual color until my wife got to it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
always printed ABS, nylon. It's printed a lot of different stuff.
And so far with like, I don't know how long you guys have had that.
Since Christmas,
Okay. So
Mhm.
you've probably done a significant amount of printing on it then.
we have, yeah.
So what your impressions were obviously good enough that you bought one.
Yeah, exactly.
He made the mistake of showing his wife how cool it was.
Exactly. But at least I made her come into the shop to
Right.
see how it worked and if that's what she wanted before we outlaid all the money first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
that's the most important thing that often we don't get to do in this, right? You just see it online and you have to take the leap of faith that it's not some junky thing.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
now there's two versions of the bamboo. I'm assuming you got the higher one, or
Yeah, we
did you
got the
get?
carbon one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And
Now,
really the biggest difference is the enclosure is fully there on that one with a nice metal enclosure sides
Exactly.
and whatnot,
Yeah.
and it has the lidar
Right.
on it, whereas the P1P, the other one, I think does not have the lidar.
Right.
Or the and you can put custom sides on it, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Other than
Um,
that, are there any other differences for it, or is that the
I'm
main
sure
ones?
there's a few, but that's the main ones.
Yeah,
hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Pierre asked a quick question that we could probably all answer very quickly.
All right.
Yeah, he has an Ender 5 that he's had for like 5 years now. And he says the bed is taking longer to heat up than it should. What could it be? And he has a SKR 2.0 board in there. I'm thinking it's a MOSFET.
Could be.
Or the PSU. Because usually, like, if your thermistors go, they just go wacky. They don't like slowly stop reading the temperature.
That's true. I
And
mean, he could try PIDing it, right?
you can PID it. I would get a voltmeter onto your power supply too, just to make sure you're outputting what voltage you think you're
Yeah,
outputting.
yeah. If it's gotten weaker over time, and it was 24 volts, and now it's like at 22 point whatever,
Yeah.
could be something there. Like you could have a weak circuit in there of some sort, but
Yep.
there's normally a little dial you can tweak it, but if it's starting to go, you may want to look at
Well, the Ender 5s have
contact Ray.
yeah. The Ender 5 has the Meanwell in it, so it will have the dial.
Well,
Well, that
even
depends how old it is.
That's true.
right,
Yeah. But
yeah.
I mean, I had on my CR10 when my first motherboard or mainboard and it went. It was that symptom. The bed would stop heating and the extruder stopped turning. So it was the MOSFET and a stepper driver at the same time. So
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years is a pretty good run off of a board if that's how long you've been using it. But I don't think you can buy an
As long
SKR
as it was
2.0 back
as
then.
as long as it was tweaked, right, then it should last. And then SKR2 isn't that old.
No,
It's only
there,
a year and a half, right? 2 years, year and a half.
Yeah, both that. Yeah.
give or
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, it's not that old. He did say he did PID it. Made no, it didn't seem to make a difference. So he's going to check the power supply.
The extra do this stuff like lidar working. So yeah, How's is just asking about the bamboo. Is like the lidar and all that stuff on your carbon working?
That works fine.
Yeah.
It's funny, right? Because in theory it should work great. In practice, is it overkill for like a hobbyist level printer?
I think so, and the size as well, right? It's
Yeah.
not 300.
It probably shouldn't be your first printer, but I mean, I've seen a lot of the stuff like that you've posted on Facebook for the craft sales that your wife does and whatnot, and you guys do, and some of the projects she does. She's going to get a lot of use out of it for sure.
Oh, she will. Yeah.
I really, I think it'll pay for itself with the amount of printing that you guys are going to get off of it and the quality, and just the time saving to do some of the stuff that she probably wanted to do before, and that whether it's
Took too
you
long.
doing it with the pause and switching the filament and this and that, like I mean, this will make a big substantial change, I think.
This particular egg that she did, when she did it on the Ender, it took her about 3.5 hours to print with the color swaps and that stuff.
Yep.
When she did it in the bamboo, it was 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's substantial. And now, how will okay? How do I want to say? So it has a big enough build plate that you could do multiple prints on it. But now, do they recommend doing multiple prints with wipe towers, or would you have to have multiple wipe towers?
I honestly don't know. Haven't tried it.
One would
Yeah.
hope that their slicer
Yeah.
would be optimized to use the same
yeah,
one with the same colors, right?
Yeah, especially if you could have just the one purge block. Like
Yeah.
the purge block might increase in size if you're doing like 3 eggs in one purge block,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But I would hope you wouldn't have to have 3 purge blocks separate. You know, I would hope that their slicer is smart enough to
Yeah.
be able to do that, because that alone would all that would probably even save more time, because um of the pauses and everything and whatnot. So I bet you
Well,
could probably it wouldn't be 50% less or something than you did, but it might be a third less than trying to print it otherwise.
yeah. Like the time saving on the bamboo, I'm sure, is the poop bucket.
Yeah, exactly. Because it only has
yeah.
to do it once, right? Doesn't have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And then once it does that once, really quick purge, that, like you showed that tower, like it's barely doing anything, and then it's on to printing. So
Yeah.
like I think of the palette, and the palette was cool, but like to print, it was Batman. I printed a Batman little guy.
That's right. It was the little
And
Batman figurine.
To print the little Batman figure without the palette, just like one color, it took an hour, and then the palette took 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
With the purge towers and stuff. So it'd be interesting. And on the bamboo, probably it would take the same amount, just maybe a little more than the hour with the regular colors.
Ray, you could do a really funky colored stealth burner, right? With a bamboo.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right?
I saw one. They call it the chiclet, I think it is, and it's got 8 different colors in that little spot.
Yeah. No, that'd be really cool. Like you could do some really, because because the stealth burner has all those different kind of little angly pieces around the bottom of the cover. So you could pick a whole palette and paint each of those and
Exactly.
get something really cool looking.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. That's awesome.
Now,
well, hey, thanks, Pierre. Pierre was generous enough to give us $20 for Coke and coffee.
I don't have my sound deck set up. It's going to be delayed. Hold on. It's just going to be delayed.
I think I have mine.
Everybody get your sound deck going.
What do we want?
I don't know. Like push any button that makes fun sounds.
Is that good?
Sure. I was like, I don't need my sound deck. I'll just.
Stig is saying, how much should you pay for a hobby grade printer? I mean, you can get Fun Mat HD for under 10K.
Yeah.
Well, I think of the Ender 3 as a hobby printer.
Yeah, like I would think like that CR10 behind Raymond there, that's a hobby printer.
Yeah.
Right. I think once you get into the 5,000 to 10,000 range, you're talking prosumer. So like you're kind of not a hobbyist. It's kind of like Ray and that bamboo printer, right?
I think that one's a prosumer.
I think that's prosumer as well, right? Because he's going to be using it for like those baubles and like selling things and right. And while you can do it was a good example. Like you can do it on an Ender, it just takes 3 hours instead of like an hour.
Right.
So I think like that bamboo is prosumer as well. 10,000 will buy you a nice metal printer.
Well, the one we saw was like 100,000.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to.
Because you had the sinter machine.
Yeah.
And
what's the?
It was what was that? That was a Mark Forge or something.
Make Forge.
Mark Forge.
Mark Forge, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It printed the filament is basically a metal powder and a wax spool, and it 3D print. You 3D print it, then you take the print carefully on its platter and put it in a special wash of chemical that would dissolve away just the wax, and then you'd weigh it, and make sure that you got all the wax out. And if you didn't, you put it in the wash a little longer.
Yeah.
And then you put it in the sintering machine,
Yeah.
and it sintered it for what did he say, 38 hours or something like that? It was
yeah.
like, and then you had a full metal. You could have like an aluminum or a copper or whatever
Say
you
it like the
wanted,
British people say
titanium,
it.
aluminium, or a titanium part. And he did some custom carburetors
Yeah.
for like a 1930 something. I don't know what it was, but it was like a very vintage car. But you couldn't get them anymore. But they had the design specs on
Yeah.
them, and someone redesigned the carburetor so that you could then print it.
It's kind of cool.
So
for
it was
sure.
cool. But yeah, and then he's like, "Hey, I'll sell it to you for $100,000." I'm like,
But he was also using oh goodness, now I can't remember the brand. He did have other metal 3D printers that were slightly cheaper.
yeah,
But like
yeah.
that's not the the point is there's prosumer.
Oh yeah, no,
And,
his was pro.
Yeah.
because
Yeah, his was just straight pro.
He was. I mean, he had the copying table where you put your thing down and you could copy the entire object and then CNC it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like this guy was printing parts for airplanes and CNCing parts
Yeah,
for
like
airplanes.
the beaver plane, I think, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Because they're relaunching a bunch of the manufacturing in Calgary of some of the old. Were they de Havilland? Was that what they were?
I think they were. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
they were planes. It's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. We were going somewhere, and we arranged a trip to go check this guy's stuff out in just north of Calgary near Balzac.
But yeah,
So it was really cool.
Mercedes, like Stig says, Mercedes uses to print parts up. I think BMW also uses metal printers to print part of their brake assembly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's different ways of doing it. This way, it was the lower cost way, and then you've got the what is it called, David, when they use the powder and the laser?
Sintering?
No, when they like the 3D printing method, like they have the bed, and then as it raises up, it fills with powder, but they laser each level, and then when they're done,
I think I just answered the question. Hold
on. Is that was it? I thought no, I thought there was a specific.
Well, like if it's goo, it's like the laser.
It's not goo; it's just powder.
I think it's SLSA.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it is. That's what I was thinking. SLS. Yeah, it's really cool, but you have to like wear big masks and stuff because as you're breaking the powder, last thing you want is metal powder going into your lungs. I mean, breaking it off.
Is it really the worst thing that's going to happen today? Probably not.
Maybe today.
The next time you're by the shop, come have a look. We have one there.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah, we use it for nylon.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
That's cool. And which one is it? The oh man, what brand is it?
I don't know. It's a big red one.
Yeah, man, wouldn't that be great if that was the actual brand of a printer? Big red one.
It's the big red one.
Yeah, SLS is the technical name, and then you can have a double S.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Selective laser sintering, Greg. Selective laser sintering.
So Pierre is asking, and let me just put it up on screen here. I think I can do that.
Whoa.
What are you 3D printing, Ray?
I am 3D printing some brackets for the AMS system for the bamboo. So that my wife will have 2 bamboo AMSs so they can be stacked on top of one another.
Yeah.
8 colors for power.
So he hasn't even got it yet, and has him working on it already.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess you got the AMSs technically.
Yes.
Yes, but the printer's not there yet.
How's your Voron multicolor doohicker coming along?
You mean the one that's tipped over in the back?
Yep. That's a good answer.
I was just fixing up the clicky mod that I put in there and running my lights, and I kind of just flip it over and do it all at one shot.
Yeah.
Rerun my grounds because I didn't like the way my grounds were run and that sort of thing.
So getting it all tweaked.
If you run them wrong, you could keep your wife away from the printer.
Yeah, exactly.
So Hilge said that he is going to for 2 months in Asia. What are you doing in Asia, Hilge? And you're welcome to join us on the stream. That we sent out the links. So
that's so far 2 months. So wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Like I'd love to go on a extended holiday like that. Well, unless it's working. I mean, you could be working, but that still would be cool. So,
I mean, holiday is holiday. But
yeah, I mean,
work
a
is
working
work.
holiday is all right too, right?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, both would be fine. Yeah, we do have some news that we. So the Kira 5 point. Where did it go? 5.3 is officially released. So if anyone wants to try it, it does not have the new. Unfortunately, it does not have the new tree support in it yet, but it is out. So anyone who's a Kira user and whatnot, you can download the new Kira 5.3. It's no longer in beta because some people are a little shy about using betas and alphas, which is totally justifiable. I don't know what your opinion on betas and alphas are, Ray.
I don't use them.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I generally don't use the new version until the next new version is out.
Right.
So I'm always behind one version.
Okay. Well, 5.3 is out, so Ray, you can be on the 5.2.9 or whatever.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Whatever it is. And then they are progressing nicely on the Prusa Slicer versions. We are now officially on Prusa Slicer 2.6 Alpha 5. So there's a number of new things that they're adding into the Alpha 5. They changed the way they calculate. So when you're doing a slope, there was a thin wall compensation that they put in there that's been in Prusa for a long time. Well, they've changed the algorithms that they use to calculate the thin wall to reduce the number of moves and material that's used when making that. So they've fixed that. They also have changed the way some of the if you changed your infill pattern. So like if you're using the which infill was it? Let me bring up my release notes here. If you're using the lightning infill or cubic infill, sometimes when you would print and have a different density of infill later on, it would not necessarily. It would make a larger kind of raft before it printed whatever was on top of that infill. So now they've optimized it. So now it supports just the underside of the model. So you're also saving filament there. So that's the new thing out in the Prusa Slicer. But again, it's still in alpha, so we'll probably have a few release candidates before it actually goes fully released and whatnot. And other than that, I think David wanted to talk about, and when he gets back, I think he just had to quickly run out. SolidWorks has this new subscription. So if you're a maker and you're into CAD or whatnot, SolidWorks has a maker, because SolidWorks is fairly expensive to purchase on your own. I don't know if you've ever looked at SolidWorks, Ray.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So
Fusion is what I use.
Yeah, and that's what I used as well. So it's similar to Fusion and whatnot. There's lots of people out there that love SolidWorks. I haven't personally tried it yet, but it's now $100 a year for a maker. So for a fairly high end CAD program for $100, that's not bad, because I think it's regular $1,000 a year for commercial.
Yeah.
So it's that's a significant savings. Again, if you're a maker, you do get Fusion. They did change it a couple of years ago, so they took some of the things out that you can and can't do in the free one. But there's also FreeCAD, and there's a number out there, right? So there's a lot of ways to do it. Let's see what's in chat here. Pierre says the Voron tilting at the back. I'm thinking of to get for my third printer a rat rig V core. What do you think of the rat rig, Ray? Have you seen them?
I haven't
Tried them?
even really looked at them yet.
I think they're kind of similar to kind of what the Vorons are, but I'm not sure that they're the same type of a community build like the Voron, but I don't know that for sure because I don't know enough about the rat rig. I know there's been a number of channels out there that have built the rat rigs and whatnot and shown them off. So yeah,
From what I understand, you can build the rat rig bigger than the Voron.
yeah,
Right now, Voron says 350 is the biggest you should build it. Otherwise, you get wobble and all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
We built one at the shop that was 2 feet by 2 feet by 1,500 meters.
Oh yeah.
Just to prove that we could.
And
it works fine.
Oh, perfect. So, and there's a very huge the community and the support and the mods and everything in the Voron community. It's pretty extensive. So if you want, you know, some really good support and really interesting different projects, they have quite the selection. Like there's not just one printer to choose from. Like they have a large library of printers that they're continuing, iterating. Like they had the original extruder and now they have the stealth burner, and then they have different probes. Like you did the clicky probe, right?
Yeah.
And that one's pretty cool. After I talked to Ray about it, because I hadn't really, think I'd seen it before, but I hadn't really but it has a dock on the back. It's a micro switch, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it goes and it grabs the micro switch with magnets, picks it up, does its calibration, drops it back off in a little cradle at the back. So it's pretty cool. So there's lots of different mods. You can have one of the key ones that they always used to have is the inductive. They had an inductive sensor at the back of right.
Yep.
Yeah. and I was seeing on some of the forums people melting them, and I don't know if they just built them wrong and had it too close to the hot end, or if there was a batch of those that were faulty or something. But yeah, I've seen a few of those melt. So I think the clicky probe is a good option if you don't want to use that. So there's the clicky.
Yeah. So this part mounts onto your hot end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Itself, and then it picks up. So it goes to the dock, which will be onto the back.
Yeah.
So it'll come by, it'll pick it up, and it'll go do its probe. If you look, there's a micro switch on the bottom side there.
Yep.
And all it does is it just, probes it, and then when it's done, it comes back,
docks it
off, and then continues.
And I remember the original Dremels. That's what they had. They deployed on a servo, dropped down a micro switch.
Yeah,
their little probe. So it's a known, reliable way of doing things. I suppose the more sensitive and more reliable of a switch you get will allow you to do better probing. Like if it over time it could, I guess, wear. But if the better quality switch, you probably don't have to worry about that. If you get, what are they, Omrons?
The Omron, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the higher quality switches. So if you get those, they're probably really, reliable. So
and
just
then
use an MX.
Then they're easy to replace if you do.
That's true.
Need a new one. 2 screws and it's out and back together again.
Yep. Yeah, very, very true.
So I was mhm.
Dominic says he prefers his capacitive probe. And David, I've used a probe before,
Yeah, I
and
have a
the
cap probe on one of
yeah,
mine, and
and
still,
they're fine.
yeah.
I like my BL Touch. I've been very happy with the performance of my BL Touches.
Uh-huh.
So you know,
It,
I think if you find something that works, right?
mhm. Well, it'd be interesting, like, because apparently, and I have not used one, but like, um, the CR Touch, it's a little bit more from Creality, and it's a beefier probe for reasons they don't want to explain. But
It's
it
small.
has
It's
the
isn't it smaller?
no, it's
The
bigger than
CR
a BL
Touch.
Touch.
That's the Big Tree Tech one, which is smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking the CR
Oh,
Touch
yeah.
from Creality. It's interesting on that one because Greg and I we were doing fleet printing for a while there, and like a common problem was the plastic probe on the BL Touch sometimes got sheared off if the print failed for some reason, and the CR Touch has a metal probe again, which is I think
I,
why their unit is bigger, because it has a bigger magnet to capture the probe.
I don't know.
I haven't had one apart yet.
Yeah, but I was just reading an article on them, and they're apparently fairly reliable. The what was it? The Magic Touch or whatever it was called, like a 3D Touch. Those were junk.
3D Touch, yeah.
Yeah. The Neo has that probe on it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
I
think
think.
it does, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you sold many of the Neos?
I don't know, 60, 65, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
So quite a few.
And no negative feedback.
No.
I've got negative
Oh, that's
feedback
good.
right here. No, I'm just kidding. I'll
That's good.
make sure to
Because
leave a negative comment.
I think David and I will be calling you this week to put in
Already
an
did it.
early order. Did you already
Already did.
order?
Well, like
Did you
order's
order?
a hard word, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
We
I mean,
soft ordered.
we soft ordered, but we probably should pay them.
They're not there yet. Anyway, now I know that we talked. I can tell by the chat that we talked about the tree support guy.
So, well, no, we didn't. So I did talk about Kira and Prusa, and I also briefly mentioned the other piece there, the SolidWorks, but
That's
I
been
did not
real brief.
specifically talk about the tree supports. So I thought I'd leave that for you once you got your technical worked out.
Yay!
Yay!
A big thing for everybody was tree supports in Kira and Prusa, right? You can't use Prusa, no tree supports. And we're like, good news, tree supports are coming to Prusa, yay!
Yeah.
As it turns out, the same programmer that did the algorithm for Prusa Slicer is tree supports are being integrated into Kira.
Well,
So
he was the guy who originally did them in Kira.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he has the new implementation.
Yes.
And even though there's the new version of Kira, they didn't implement his newest version of tree support, but you can download it and add it as a module.
Well, you download it as the alpha version still.
Yeah, but you can extract it then.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's all just Python driven.
Probably.
Code, which is fine. But it's interesting that like the Arachne engine was already slightly borrowed.
Well, I mean,
Prusa,
but they totally acknowledged it. I mean, if it's open source and someone makes something that's solid, and like, why wouldn't you be able? If it's something that will complement your project, let's do it. Like,
and pretty soon everything's just gonna look like Bamboo Slicer, since it's an amalgamation of everything.
Yeah.
Like, just it's
well,
really
even
good.
even Anchor's copying Prusa. So
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah.
So
there's even an updated version of Bamboo Studio today.
Well,
that lasted 2 weeks until there was an update.
I'm impressed on how quickly they come out with their software and patches and whatnot so far. So
Mhm.
I'll be interested to see how often you get firmware updates, Ray, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know the Sonic Pad.
Yep.
We're getting firmware updates about every 2 to 3 weeks right now.
Does
Okay,
it
so they're
actually?
Some are
are
good,
they
some aren't.
Yeah.
are they expanding their compatibility with the firmware updates, or are they just bug fixing?
I think most of it's just bug fixes.
Mm. I mean, that's good because I'm not saying it's a bad product, but it does have that bug word in it a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it's not a bad product. It would be nice to play with one, but have they fixed like the board support issue that you know of yet? Like, can you use?
Not as far as I know.
Yeah.
So basically, what that is they're using an old version of Clipper. You need
Mm,
to use a newer version of Clipper,
yeah.
and that'll fix that problem.
Well, and you think with they're doing updates like crazy, they would put out something.
So the new version of Prusa Slicer is in, I think it's last alpha, Dominic, before it goes beta. So right now you can actually use the alpha and it's fairly stable with the
Yeah,
tree supports. I would
yeah,
say
and
that it's
it does work. David did a
yeah,
slice the other day, and it looked really good.
yeah, it's just
Um,
fine. Yeah,
but if you want the new Cura tree supports, you're probably going to have to wait for like 5.3.1 or 2,
probably. Yeah.
because they just haven't fully implemented it. Again, you can go to the alpha version and try it, but they haven't. And I don't know if it was just timing when they wanted their release out,
It could
but
be.
but I think it'd be fairly. It's going to be a. It would be a point release to get it in because they've been planning this for a while. So
Yeah. And like the Kira Alpha 3 is fairly stable too. It was what the release was based off of. So like when you click on the alpha in the GitHub with the guy's name on it to
yeah,
download, like that was a fairly stable
yeah,
version.
it's right in the release notes there.
Pierre asks one more question. What SKR mainboard are you using? And would you upgrade to the answer is all of them.
I have it in my Ender 3. I have a SKR 1.4 in the no one yeah 1.4. I have a 1.4 in there as well with 2209s, and then I have a 1.3 in this one, and
Okay.
then way over there, which you can't see, well, maybe you can sort, yeah, right back there has the SKR2. So yeah, so
Yeah,
I've got Big Tree Tech boards in
everywhere. I think
everywhere.
form
Yeah,
factor is a big thing, Pierre. If you don't want to switch out or make a bracket inside your printer to mount a big tree board, stick with the SKR Ender line. That way you can just drop it in and go. I really
yeah.
like the turbo still, even though it's probably about 2 years old now. Turbo is a good board. There's the new, is it 1.3 for the SKR Mini? I forget what
I
the
went
newest one
the I
is.
did
SKR
the
Mini is 3, version
yeah
3.
Version 3. Yeah,
SKR
sorry.
3.
E3, V3.
Yeah,
Get rid of the one and
E3
it's just
V3.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it does not have dips, so you can't change the stepper drivers. But it it was easy to configure. I set
It
one up
is in
just the
UART.
other day, and
Yeah.
it's in UART, so which is really nice. It has a nice heat sink on it, so that worked out really well. Um, David and I actually had a printer the other day that was steppers were getting really hot. Nothing was burnt out on it or anything yet. So we flipped it over. It's an Ender 3 V2 and dropped the voltages all down. And all of a sudden it's printing nice and cool. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to last a lot longer.
More than the 6 days of life it had left. Like I'd be interested to your answer, Ray. What board would you choose if you're dropping it into an Ender?
Probably the E3, V3.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's fair. Like it's a good little board, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's the right form factor because we were looking at
Exactly.
boards for my
Yeah.
Ender, and I'm like, oh, that one, and then it's like, well, I'd have to drill a hole or print a bracket, or it's not a
Yeah.
drop in. Um,
The one thing, if you have a V2, you do have to re-pin out the cable, so you'll have to
Mm.
cut off the one end and re-pin it out because
Well, his is a 5, Ender 5.
yeah,
He'll be
if you
fine.
have the older style Ender 3 Pro screen or the CR10 screen, the
The blue.
standard Marlin kind of screen, you're fine. It'll plug
Yeah.
in and just work. But if you have one of the V2s with the portrait screen and that with the graphics, and it's the D-Win screens they're called.
Yeah.
If you have one of those, you have to change the pinout because the way the board talks to the screen is slightly different on the pinout. It was really easy to do. I just repinned, crimped on some DuPont in 2 rows of 5, and repinned it and plugged it in, and worked right away. So there's some pretty good guides out there and whatnot if you're doing that sort of thing. Stig says I use E3 Mini V1.2, and so far they're just working without any problems. Yeah. And I have the V3 that I just got at work, and it because my board the Y stopped moving when it overheated all the time. So so it was a nice feature. It would keep printing, but the Y was no longer moving.
Yeah. And I think the key with Big Tree Tech too is always buy, like, well, if you're buying a new board, don't buy one that was released in the last month.
Yeah, let them work out the bugs first.
Buy the one
for the first
before, or
2 months.
yeah. Then
It's like Ray. Ray said with his slicers, he's always a slicer or two behind, so that he knows it's solid, right? And there's no new bugs that he has to wait for a patch for.
Yeah.
So
he waits for
which is
like us to test it.
Yeah, which is completely valid. Especially, last thing he wants is his wife saying, "Why isn't this printer working?" And it's because this, he tried a new slicer. That would be bad.
We do the same thing at Spool for the Big Tree Tech boards. We don't order them. Like if there's a new board comes out tomorrow, it'll be 2 to 3 months before we bring them in.
Yeah.
For that reason.
And the SKR2 is a good solid reason for that, because their first batch they screwed up and someone saved money and swapped the part, and it caused steppers to fry and this and that, and they rectified it and had a solution and everything fairly quickly. But you shouldn't beta test on your
I think when I got my when I got my E3 Turbo, remember I had to unsolder a resistor on the board. I had to pop it off because it was the reason the thermistor wasn't working. And like they even knew that, like before they had even shipped the board, it was on their GitHub that this is an issue. And it's like, why are you even shipping stuff that in practice failed quality control?
Well, it passed quality control, and then in between someone switched the part, and then they didn't re-quality it. That was the problem. Right?
That's failing quality control.
Right.
That's the whole reason for it.
You don't change a manufactured part, even though it looks like it's pin compatible, without doing re-quality. And so I think they've improved that, but it's just.
Oh, Dominic, that statement kills me inside. You should stay up to date on your iPhone and Windows updates, please.
Well, he's staying a whole computer behind because he has a brand new computer sitting there and he hasn't set it up.
I like Raymond shook his head too. It's just one of those things. Like, you're probably okay if you're like a version release behind, because you can still do security patches without doing like version patches. But yeah, like I know, Ray, you had issues with Windows and not long ago, right? Like, and they do. And like Greg had a magical issue where his graphics card would turn green because his friends enrolled him in the beta program.
Yeah, it was very nice of David to enroll me in the beta without asking me.
It was pretty funny, actually. It was best prank ever.
No, it took me over a year and a half to transition out of the beta back to normal.
Yeah, best prank ever. It's great because if they threaten me with stuff like that, I just go, whatever, I'll rebuild. And they know I will. I don't have any qualms about blowing all my files away and starting again. I'm going to push a button here just because we're getting to the time. And then I'm going to make it big up there. Yes.
There we go.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, Ray, for coming online. And I'm not sure what Restream's doing. I know some of us got in, some of us couldn't, but thanks for being supporters on Patreon, everybody. We appreciate you. Held up there. Tree support everybody else on the list.
And
if you want to,
Helge has joined us before, but today
he's in the chat for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely been in chat and everything.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to have like we've had Dominic live and Helge and Stig before too. Stig tried the other day, the last time we did it, and had a hard time getting on. So, but it's good that we get to have you guys here every once in a while, because it's nice to have another voice and hear what's going on with you guys. So
we get to see your toys too, and see your printers, and it's lovely. If you want to join the Patreon or anything, patreon.com/3dmakeit is the URL for that, or you can just do 3dmakeit.ca. That's
3D Make It. Yeah, we got .ca. We got everything up there, all our socials and links to if there's upcoming contests, and we have our merch up there and that sort of thing. So
new computer, no new mail, no log on for me at this time. I got you, Held. She has new stuff and it's just not all working yet.
It's all good. It's all good.
So if you can, we do them like usually once a month. I think this one was like closer to the last one, but we'll probably do one in about 4 weeks again, give or take. And then you guys can join us then. Now, I'd be interested if we send you a file, Ray, can you print it on the carbon? Like not big, like a Batman or something. And then I'll print it on the palette. Same thing. I'll slice it in canvas, and you can do bamboo, and then we could compare.
A good contrast of the weight and waste and all that.
I think
keep the poop bucket.
Yeah, keep the poop bucket on that one.
we can weigh them all. So
it would be interesting for one, but then we can see like quality between the two, and it won't be big. It'll just be like, I think the last guy I printed was only like 2 inches tall or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll find something fun to compare them with. Is there a way to have general public tab for Discord? So in Discord, you're saying you're missing the general tab? Well, the general tab doesn't do much anymore because nobody's on that one. You should be able to use the Patreon tab in Discord. That's the one that people actually like have converse in. The general one was the old one, and we just kind of left it.
Yeah, we had to set up something to get started, and then we invited a certain, we had legacy people that had always been in the chat that we invited into there, and then as we transitioned to Patreon, we then set up the dedicated Patreon chat. And I think, David, you tweaked it the other day just to make, because the bot stopped working or something.
Yeah. Patreon's connector to like our Discord server changed, so then you just had to re-up it. So that's I did that, and then the general tab, if you were part of the server when that tab existed,
which I think
Pierre
is, I think Pierre is in there.
Yeah. I forget all the people.
There's a, like, if you click on it, there's a whole bunch of Pierre's in there.
Like there's a lot of people in there. It's just the Patreon one is
the one
that current one.
Yeah.
No, I was wondering if it's possible to have. That's an interesting thing, because we offer the Patreon Discord as a bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus. It's a bonus for Discord.
Yeah, and so,
but Pierre,
I know where you're coming from.
You were legacy, so you're still in the general one.
Yeah.
So you should still be in there. I see you listed on the side there. So
I see what you're asking now,
you should
Dominic.
still be able to chat in that one,
Um,
and we'll see it. We still will
Hmm.
see it, but it's
Yeah, we might
locked.
have to
We
take that offline.
we're not adding anyone else to it, but we
Yeah.
kept it for legacy for anyone that was in there, so that if they do want to chat, they can still chat.
And we can't post like the like we can't post the restream link in the general one
No, that because
because that would
that's a perk. That is a perk for our subscribers on Patreon.
yeah. So that's why it's set up the way it is.
Oh, hey,
Hey,
look,
there he is, right at the end.
you got in here at the end.
Maybe.
Finally.
Hey.
Hi. Well, it's good to see you while we're wrapping up. No.
Got in here at the end.
Yeah, I finally got the right password.
You know, the seventh guess is always the right one.
Finally got the right
we got some echo going on.
Yeah.
We do. That's okay though.
That's all right. But it's good. So you're going to Asia. We got some echo going on. That sounds pretty cool.
It's probably me. There we are.
All right.
There we go.
So this is a holiday, or is it?
Yeah, a lot of things has happened here. New house, a lot of things is new in my life, and I also found one nice girl in Jakarta. So, well,
Mm.
I'm going down to settle in a little bit for at least 2 months, and
Cool. Well,
we see
good
how
luck.
it goes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can join us from there, and then if you have found some cool tech or 3D stuff or whatever, you can show it off or something. That'd be cool.
I will
I'm
try
sh-
to because
sure his mind's on
I have a lot of things going on now, but now it's the second time I'm going down. So I have been last year for 2 months also. So
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very nice.
that's really
but
cool.
that was kind of a little bit incognito.
On the DL, as you would say. Yes.
So this time it's Jakarta, Bali, and all the islands, and was thinking about a detour into China and Shenzhen, and maybe.
Oh, that would be really cool to go down to the manufacturing district and kind of see where Creality and Big Tree Tech and all of them are.
Yeah, that's the plan. So I have already sent some emails, correspondence, and So and it's like, oh yeah, come on, welcome with your camera and film and do your stuff. Post
That'd
it on
be
YouTube.
neat. That'd be cool. Yeah, no,
So-
that'd be really cool. So, yeah. I'm
The only thing stopping is COVID. So if they are still messing around with that can be a bummer. But anyway, I will enjoy my time in Bali.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Sounds awesome. Well, we're glad you could hop on here at the end. That's great because I haven't seen you in a while. So, well, I mean, we've seen you in chat, but every now and then, but we haven't seen you face to face.
Yeah.
It has been a lot of fruits to pick. So
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, nice.
that's I have kind of been in the background, but
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
we still appreciate you joining us and in the chat and everything and all that.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on, even though it's at the end of the show.
We still got to say
we
hi.
still appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been trying now for 25 passwords or something.
At least you didn't get the send the reset password one, and then it says you can't use your last password. Try again.
Yeah,
That's the worst.
Also, the two-factor authenticator, and
Mhm.
I got this on my phone. I punched it in. not recognized, wrong password, wrong username,
Oh
whatever
no,
get through
Yeah.
at you. It goes like, yeah. So,
not good. Not good.
Oh.
But you made
Yeah.
it. You made it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Well, I think we're at the top of the hour, so we're
are.
actually got to wind up here because we got other things to do. But again, thanks Ray and thanks Hilch for dropping in and participating today, and great to see everyone. Pierre and Chad, thanks Pierre for the $20 that you sent our way. That's so appreciated. And we've had like a whole bunch of people in chat today. We've had Stig, we've had everyone. So we appreciate all of you for joining us. And I think next Sunday will just be our normal stream.
Normal
and
format.
and we will I guess see you all then, unless you have something to say to sign off, David.
Maybe next weekend we'll start configuring Clipper on the live stream too.
Good.
Do a Clipper kind of show. We've done a Marlin
Good.
kind of one, so let's do a Clipper kind
What
of one.
Yeah, we could. We could
Yeah.
do a number of different things. So
I like it.
all right.
But yes,
All right.
that's a closing thought. Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll
Thanks.
catch you on the next one.
All right.
Okay.